Rookies in Counter-Strike are a very interesting commodity because when we look back on the years, there weren't that many, right? They weren't pumping these kids out back then. Early on, pre-2016, there wasn't really much talk of it because it was still all the legends running the game, right? Get Right, Forrest, Shocks, Exist, Freiberg, Kenny S., Doja. You know, these guys were the leaders of the scene, and there was no really fitting into their spots, right? I mean, when Faflaren eventually got replaced, you thought, okay, wow, Nip are going to be saved because you replaced the lowest stat player on your team. Wrong. They never recovered. Look at Nip now. Look at them. Okay? So in the past, for many, many years, at the beginning of CSGO, people were just recycling players, right? Over and over again. They just were going for the same old dogs and whatever. And it's actually a modern era of CS that has brought out more attention to rookies, along with things such as FPL. FPL has sprouted up a ton of these random oppers that you've never heard of that are between 16 and 4 years old and are opping on simple sensitivity and are just copying all his settings and somehow are making it work at the top level and are able to individually grind their way through FPL in order to get on tier 1 teams. Wonderful. Okay, there's lots of really interesting stories that have come out of the individual accolades of FPL and that grind. And over in NA, you know, it started with rank S and some of those scrims and pugs that people would play where you get to play with pro players. Like even I got to play in some of those early scrims. In the very early days, we used to have pro scrims that were essentially just 10-mans, and they were like pay to enter 10-mans. There would be a mix of levels, right? I wasn't a pro. Stanislaw was a pro. We had players like Stewie who would come into there. I remember one time Stewie was just sort of breaking into the scene, and before he played with Ocean and then went on to Cloud9, he actually played with me on Boxer and in the Civo Pro placement. And when we were doing some money 10-mans, I remember I wanted to 1v1 Stewie, and Warden messaged me on Steam and he said, "Don't do it, bro. There's no point." And I was like thinking like, why? Because I'm bad? And apparently it was because everyone thought he cheated. Everyone thought Stewie cheated.
And Stewie, you came in. I really hope you're not cheating. But dude, after watching this, you're worse than Flusha.
But that mix of different strata of player was only possible because you could blur the line with things like pro 10-mans, scrims, rank S eventually, and then it became sort of locked off, and now there's an official qualifier route through it because it became so popular and successful. It was a natural thing to do. It sort of killed the magic of watching scrims back in the day on Twitch, and everybody was streaming the one scrim. You know, it'd be like Dazed and Steel and Shazam all yelling at each other in one pug. There'd be some guy who messes something up, and Steel and Dazed goes, "Justin 9N, what kind of name is that?" And everyone laughed at the same time across the internet, you know?
Okay,
Go
they
ahead.
have NAF, Rush, XP3, right? I hold
Gotcha.
tab.
Thanks,
I have
Sam.
Justin 9N. I've never even heard of. I don't even know how you got in here. Who PM'd you?
You're so upset. Like, why not?
Now it's like everyone's streaming FPLC. Gameplay is like high level, but also degenerate. It's like people don't really care as much. It's not nearly as fun as it used to. But that's just an old man rant by me. The point is that this is how we really started to find a lot of rookies, even though they did exist before this time period. And it became more fun to talk about them. And for me, I think a lot of the big hype in early FPL came down to someone like ropz, okay? 2017, I was at Yahoo Esports. I made a video called On the Radar, and it was about ropz. And now, of course, someone would make a radar joke about it, but it was kind of tongue-in-cheek because everyone thought ropz cheated. There's a clip on Cobble where he sees someone's shadow come up on the A ramp, and he reacts so quickly to it that it gets basically called out in all chat for cheating. And these are pro players putting their rep on the line to call out ropz for cheating, okay? Well, it turns out ropz is the real motherfucking deal, okay? Look at this trophy cabinet, son. Not many have the trophy sliding bar on HLTV. That's pretty much the biggest flex that you can have right now, besides like a major win, a Grand Slam. But either way, you got a sliding bar, you're doing something good in life, all right? Check ropz out in his 911. Now, I waited all of 5 minutes to mention this other rookie, ACEZONE, baby. Code launders10 for 10% off in the description below. Best CS2 headphones on the market. They're new dogs. They nailed it on the first version of the Aspires. They have the best active noise cancellation that you'll ever hear, the best audio separation between players behind walls, the best noise cancellation so you can't hear your mama vacuuming in the other room. They are so quality. Johnny, play that LAN clip. You don't believe me, believe him.
Thanks, Launders, for letting me borrow these goated headphones. I can't afford these right now because they're like $1,000.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get the cheaper ones with the Launders 10 code.
Launders 10 code, that's
Shout
right.
out Launders for this land.
All right.
Our team went quarters. We're good.
There we go. Yeah, but they're actually good.
Insane, bro. Because I have open ears, but like these are like, a different beast.
So ropz is up there, with the rookies of all time. Thing is, his first year wasn't a full year. His second year, 2018, he got into top 20, but just barely. He was very impressive, but it wasn't like some of the later moves that were instantly into top tier 1 teams. mouz is looked at as a very good lineup, but not a lineup that's like firmly tier 1. They were looked at as the original feeder lineup of like, they were selling players constantly. They were very good at developing talent and finding talent. If you were young and hot, they would give you a chance, And so that even goes into Frozen, who joins this team later and is the only team that Frozen plays on until he joins FaZe. A lot of people don't know this about Frozen, man. Frozen has got HLTV records dating back to when he was 13 years old. There were Reddit threads talking about him on Neophyte, if you guys remember that, in 2016. 13 years old, and that's a very special thing. Frozen is only 21 years old and has been in top 20 twice so early on in his career, man. And there are lots of rookies that it feels like they were rookies so long ago and are still so young. Who am I talking about? ACEZONE and Shiro. Dynamic motherfucking duo. The new electronic and simple, right? That's what they were sold as. The guys who were the first to flip a academy lineup into a main lineup. Gambit youngsters in 2020, they were so insane that under Nafany with Shiro and ACEZONE, they became both top 5 players. And then in 2020, Gambit youngsters and showing their upset potential with some major wins, right? Online, as things progressed throughout the year, into 2021, where things continued to be online for half the year, ACEZONE and Shiro both get top 5 in the world. This was sort of the strongest duo on a team that wasn't winning, which was such a big echo of Simple and Electronic in 2018, although they won a lot more. So it was almost even worse. Honestly, that whole year with them and counting that as sort of their rookie year is a little strange because I don't want to count an academy year as a main year, but as the academy lineup for Gambit youngsters, they competed in like DreamHack Masters online instead of the main lineup. And so they were still competing with some bigger teams as an academy lineup. But as soon as they go half back to LAN, plus they're the official main lineup, they both end up top 5. And listen, ACEZONE, that was maybe the best CS that he's played, right? Which makes that first year incredibly impressive, how much he was able to do. It's pretty amazing how much young players are able to do now. And way back in early days CSGO, there was a consistent feature of players who played online versus played on LAN and how they would fall apart on LAN. It feels like the genetics have changed course within a generation and the cortisol levels are lower than ever. I don't know, the test tube babies are real because we're talking about guys, specimens, okay, that are children that have, I don't know if they know what's going on. I don't know if when Donk is on stage at Katowice, if he can really see the crowd and knows that they're real people or if he just thinks they're NPCs out there or something, but they seem to be able to ignore the fact that this is a life event, right? That this is a great big moment in their lifetime. And yeah, we've kind of said that you can be too young to understand the circumstances. And when you become too aware of everything, the money, the legacy, the importance, and everything like that, that can actually damage your ego a little bit. It can create a little bit of fear, a little bit of worry. It can take away your confidence. We think about someone like Yakinder, for example, who's trying to get back to where he was at on Virtus Pro days with a very similar playstyle. And we wonder if some of these players will ever come back. When we talk about their rookie years, we saw some special stuff happen, okay? Shiro seems like he's going to continue to develop and grow, whereas someone like ACEZONE, we have to see, because it doesn't seem like, how can you bet against someone who's 21, who has already been top 5 twice in his career? But sometimes achieving too much early is called the Kirby, okay? Winning a major in his first year at 18, being the youngest major winner ever, and literally saying, it might have been a curse to win that major that early on in my career. So I've talked a lot about some very cool and interesting rookies out there. And if we go back to French times, there are a couple of failures, okay? They've got the most parabolic relationship with rookies, actually. And this is interesting because the French scene has actually taken a lot of risks, right? After they tried to shuffle the deck of Apex, Kenny S, NBK, Shocks, Smiths, and, Scream. After they gave up on that into G2, they started to take some risks on young talent, okay? That's when we get a lot of the failures. I'm gonna go straight out and say it. We had Kyojin come in because his FPL clips and his highlights that he uploaded to YouTube were so nasty. We thought, this is a raw gem. He's gonna be a new Scream. We're going to train him. He's got a good hairstyle. We're gonna get him into the French stars, as it were, right? Not AZK, him. But it didn't work. Total failure. Shocks and him playing upper A side on Nuke. If you want your eyes to bleed, watch one of those demos. And then Devil, speaking of cursed images, Devil Envy 2016, he was touted as the guy who was going to help Envy bring them up over the curb, unflatten the tire, jack up the car, hit the clutch. You know what I'm saying? All of the good things that get you back on track. No, it was off the rails. It never worked. It was not even close. Unfortunately for Devil, so much scrutiny because he was one of the first big risks with a lot of hype coming into it. And he crumbled completely under the pressure, man. And the community did not give him a good go of it, okay? So there were a couple of early examples that didn't work. Then we go to later examples that didn't work for the French scene. There was Masuda. Y'all remember Masuda? Masuda the shooter? Well, he still actually exists right now. And he's still playing. I was somebody who always thought that he was overrated. And I think people thought he was rated or like underrated. I thought he was overrated because of those people. Very hard war to fight, rated versus underrated, when it really comes down to who's reading what. I think he was a little overrated. I think if there's a flash on a screen, it was over. He was very good at getting one massive 3K every CT half and then winning another, 4 months on the roster. But his stats got worse every year and they didn't start off great. So I don't have anything good to say about Masuda personally as a rookie. And he's somebody who I think is interesting because he's actually a good example of a player that we, even as casters, we would start to attribute rookie to players who were just either small or looked not great, or like they joined the team but they haven't really gotten better, so we'd just still call him a rookie. Like in year 3 of Masuda, me and Connor were still accidentally calling Masuda a rookie. Year 3 Masuda, we're calling him a rookie. Meanwhile, Brokey, on the other hand, has been a golden goose for FaZe Clan after picking up the op, becoming one of the most clutch players in the world. Immediately, we stopped calling him a rookie within like 4 months, okay? This guy got so good. I mean, his stats at first weren't amazing, but again, when he picked up that op, freaking amazing, okay? And shout outs to Kerrigan. Like, I'd say if you gave OC to Kerrigan, he would save OC, okay? That's my take. Is that a necessary take? Did anyone need to say that? No, but I did, and I am saying that, and I live by that. Okay, if you give OC to Kerrigan, he would save NA, is what I really mean. Okay, what's a later French success, Zivu? Yeah. He's the best rookie of all time. He got #1 in his rookie year. On Vitality, he's won every MVP since for Vitality. He's got his chip, and if CSGO continued for 3 more years, we would find out that Zywoo's the GOAT. Yeah. Well, how about this? 2019 Zywoo snuck up on everyone, okay? Everyone knew he was really good, and he was getting these insane clips. And then after the first half of the year, you started to really see that come to fruition. But every single year he contends with Simple is super sharp at the end, right? Very close. In 2019, it's not that I wouldn't give Zywoo #1, but I would say that Simple did spend the second half of the year on that rifle. And then also, as a player, was Zywoo as good as Simple back then? No, he wasn't. Simple, by the end of CSGO, I think Zywoo got better than Simple. That's clear. But when it comes to that first year, I know the numbers, the stats, and the actual #1s, and then the consistency thereafter all prove that that first year was the most amazing year of any CSGO player, and it probably was. It probably was, to be fair. But this video would be boring if I just called Zywoo the best rookie of all time, right? That'd be so boring. Yawn, not gonna do that. I'm gonna call him Monacy. Okay, no, I'm not gonna do that. Even though Monacy was top 10 both years that he's played on G2, even though Monacy was the star of the Academy League and Navi Jr., and the Academy League, by the way, is another thing like FPL, Rank S, Money 10-mans, and things that have just shoveled out so many top pros today. Donk is from the Academy League. Yimpat, another amazing rookie. And Monacy, and one more guy I'm going to talk about in a second. Monacy, I think the #1 is coming for Monacy. That's my bold prediction of this video. If we needed some kind of take, I think #1's coming for Monacy. I think it 100% is coming in CS2. He has every everything that you need. The only thing that could hold him back, in my opinion, is one more stupid-ass roster move like cutting JKS for G2. That's taking chances away from m0NESY, the best player on G2 right now. Nico's already said it. He thinks m0NESY will be a better player than him soon. I think that is already the case right now, especially with the new game and a kid like him who's basically teaching everyone how to play it. But best rookie of the year, if he's your favorite rookie of the year, I'm not mad at you, okay? If Zai was your favorite rookie of the year, I'm not mad at you. If nivera is your favorite rookie of the year, I'm not mad at you, okay? Because nivera, no one remembers nivera. We lost him to Valorant because he's Scream's brother. We wanted to go play with him. Fine. I miss nivera. Can I just say that? I actually think we lost something there. That was actually the biggest loss to Valorant for me. I think he was going to save France alongside ZywOo. I really do. I think he basically would have been the stats fill that Spinks is right now for Vitality. It would have happened sooner and we would have kept the French core. In my opinion, I think Vin Nivera was that good. And also he was good enough that ZywOo was willing to yield the op to him and then go back to rifle, literally. I'm sad we lost him in Valorant. I haven't gotten over that one, actually. I'm not even European, but I am French, baby. Quebecois. I grew up in Toronto. I was born in Montreal, though. So I got my French card. I can make fun of the French. No, I'm not going to do that. All right. Let's talk about Donk for a second. It's his rookie year. Is he going to get #1? If he is, like the video. All right, Donk's year is not done yet, so we can't talk about it. We don't know if he's a one cattle wonder or if it's going to be an entire year of an insane. We don't know. It's not easy to do what ZywOo does, to do what m0NESY does, to do what Nerds does, rookie of the year, to break into top 20 in your first year is already pretty insane. To be a brokey and just be a veteran kind of from the start, be incredible and just collect trophies from there on out and never be remembered as like someone who basically just started playing CS in 2020, right? With all that out of the way, lots of mentions for tons of failures, tons of successes, lots of cool rookies, and probably the stats GOAT in terms of like, how can you argue against it? #1 over an entire year, bro. Yeah, of course, I was probably the rookie of all time. But you know who the real GOAT is? Who's the one player I didn't mention? Who is it? Who is the real Lisan Al-Gaib? Who did I not mention yet? The rookie of all time, BiT. Bro, the major in the first year. I remember when this happened and everyone said, nah, he's the best, he's the best, he's the rookie of the year. I was like, shut the hell up, bro. This is an individual game. It's about what you can pull, no matter what your team can offer you or how far your team can bring you. And even though BiT won his major as an individual, he was top 10, he was top 9. I have BiT as top 6 in 2021, okay? And he got that major. And I just want to say that major run at Stockholm, he was so close to Nico and Simple when it came to stats up until the semifinals. And then that's where Simple took over. BiT was not just somebody who joined the team and played well. That major, bro, was so amazing. It was so emblematic of his progress throughout the year as well. He was the guy who had his notebook out, his tiny little moleskin notebook that he was reading notes from that Blade was writing in 0.6 font just to test him. And he was playing these matches with Na'Vi as a rookie with so much attention on him because m0NESY had just been sold to G2. And so he was the guy who had to save this legendary organization, give Simple his first major and complete this team with Boomich on it. And he was struggling to play regular spots because Simple was like rotating into him on Inferno, taking his position and then moving away. And BiT's like, what the fuck? All my other teams had structure and Simple just gets to do what he wants. And BiT at first could not figure out how to aim, even though he was so confident in the Academy League. But it's because he was approaching the game correctly from the team perspective first. He knew his aim was there waiting. And when he would be able to focus, he could aim afterwards. And as we saw throughout the years, aim got back to normal, into him taking over, into him being the right-hand man, into him being an incredible lurker, into him winning a major in his first year. And so the progress and how good he played is the most incredible part. Now, his consistency since then, obviously, he became a weaker player, but there was almost no flaws in his game in his first year. That was the amazing part, ending on such a high note. So BiT for me is my favorite rookie. I guess I'll say that. I think it's hard to argue with ZywOo being the best rookie of all time, but winning a major in your first year and not just getting carried to it is something that I gotta say is worth the admiration. So that's who it is. So as usual, I want to know, and this is a moment where I really want to know, who's your favorite rookie, right? Like, I mean, all these stories are actually quite incredible to me because I've only seen such powerful rookies in the last few years, actually. Like in the last like 6 years or so, I'd say rookies have started to become a real big thing where like they can actually make or break your team for a player who came from nowhere. Who do you love and who do you rate highly and who's underrated for you? You let me know, all right? And make sure to join the Boxer Movement Club if you want some movement merchandise. m0NESY's going to be top 1 year next 1 year in CS2, and he's going to be wearing Boxer Movement Club. So why aren't you? Join the Boxer Movement Club BMC for life today.